What's good, YouTube? It's the Daryl, and welcome back to the channel, y'all. And like today, I got no racks for y'all. You feel me? But you're watching arrogant, cocky motherfuckers get fucked up. Basically, that's what it is. It's what it is. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure y'all leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. You feel me? I love y'all. I thank y'all, and vote to the moon. Let's get into it.
But when it's time to fight, they're a big disappointment. And that is why it is so satisfying when they get knocked down a peg or two within the ring.
Oh, shit.
In this video, we're going to take a look at 10 moments when cocky fighters get owned and destroyed.
Remain humble.
Let's start.
Remain humble.
Number 10, Raulio Rodriguez versus Ryan Garcia. Even at the weigh-in where Braulio Rodriguez subbed his opponent, it was clear that he thought he was far better than his opponent Garcia. After Garcia fired up a few punches, Rodriguez's cockiness overdrive as he believed he had an easy victory on his hands. After the two burst away from the lock, Garcia managed to land a vicious hook that dropped Rodriguez on his backside. After a minute or so, Rodriguez continued fighting and began showing off by trying to dodge punches. He later danced in the octagon and even stuck out his tongue tauntingly. Of course, it was all front, and Garcia managed to knock his cocky opponent almost clean out of the ring.
Humble.
Number 9.
You gotta be a humble
versus
beast, man.
Peter Graham.
Did you hear what say? Humble beast, man. Be a humble
Kickbox
beast.
fighter Badr Hari showed nothing but disrespect to Peter Graham running up to the fight. At the press conference, he even refused to shake hands and went on to insult Graham by calling him an amateur. Later that day after the press conference, Hari could have resisted trying to intimidate Graham, also planning a kiss on the Australian opponent, which resulted in a slam to the ground. In the ring, the cocky Badr Hari got another taste of sweet karma when Graham made quick work of him with a spinning wheel kick to the face, sending him out of the arena in an ambulance. After this, I'm sure he would not dare to disrespect or intimidate his opponents.
Spinning wheel kick? God damn.
Number 8. Deontay Wilder versus Bein Stiverne. Bein Stiverne had a lot to say during his press conference before his fight with Deontay Wilder. Promising to break his ribs and jaw before the fight was over, he warned his opponent to send him home packing and force him to retire.
Talking all that shit.
Of course, with such tough words, it wasn't Stiverne's best interest to at least beat the man he was talking so much trash about. On fight night, however, Wilder got his revenge by controlling the match with his calm attitude before firing a jab that knocked Stiverne onto his back in the first round. Stiverne still tried to keep the fight going, but after shakily stepping up to Wilder, he was again smacked back into the corner. One final time, he tries to fight, but at this point, he just becomes Wilder's punching bag before being knocked out. Number 7. Jason R. Solomon versus Amitesh Chaubi. There's nothing more embarrassing than clowning your opponent and then getting your behind handed back to you in a devastating and humiliating fashion.
Oh, God.
When Jason Solomon entered the ring to fight Chaubi, he came in with a bad attitude. He walked to the cage to jumpy music and an entourage of tough-looking guys. Solomon danced his way to the cage with complete confidence, pointing to people in the crowd, strutting his stuff, and giving each of his guys a hug before entering the cage. Once inside, he pranced around like a fool, obviously enjoying the crowd's favor, but little did he know what was about to happen. The TV broadcasters tipped it off and mentioned his opponent Chaubi as a big puncher. The key for Solomon was to stay away from Chubby's knockout power, but he either didn't do his homework or he just didn't believe he could get knocked out. As the sound of the first bell rang, Chubby and Solomon met at the center of the cage. As Solomon lunged in to throw a combination, Chubby clipped him with a solid overhand, which dumped Solomon to the canvas. A series of hammer fists sealed the deal, and that's all that was needed to complete one of the most hilarious finishes to a fight in recent memory. Number 6. Bobby Green versus Dustin Poirier. If you're gonna hold your hands and arms wide open for your opponent to strike you, don't be upset when they actually strike you. Again and again and again.
He a victim.
Here you see Mr. Cocky Bobby Green acting as though nothing can even touch him.
Even a humble
when in
ass.
fact, everything touched him.
Bitch. Ooh.
A vicious right jab, the kicks, and then it was all thanks to his open and welcoming arms that Dustin Poirier decided to knock not once but twice right there in his face. Bobby Green goes down to the ground multiple times, but eventually ends up being pummeled until the referee jumps in to call the fight done and dusted. After this much beating, I'm sure this guy'll stop sending out invites to professional fighters. Number 5. Frank Sanchez versus Julian Fernandez.
I never heard that name before.
Here's another cocky fighter exposing all his body to the opponent and getting what he deserved. Backed against the ropes, Fernandez just continued taunting his opponent, Frank Sanchez, as though he is the one dishing out the blows. I know it's one thing to taunt, but when you're dominating a fight, it's a whole other story when your opponent is beating the hell out of you.
Beating the fuck out
And
you.
that's exactly what this cocky fighter asked for. When we say that the fighter in red, Sanchez, delivered this package like it was one-day shipping and free returns, we mean it. The skillful Sanchez mostly battered Fernandez before he knocked his opponent out of the ring just after the midway mark of the 7th round with a brutal right hand. Fernandez fell between the 2nd and 3rd ropes onto the ring apron. The referee started to count, but he quickly realized Fernandez was in no condition to continue. He was dazed and confused, and I'm pretty sure he was rethinking his life right now.
That nigga need prayer.
Number 4. Javier Rodriguez versus Quincy Westby.
Number 1 better be hard.
This is Westby, another arrogant fighter who believes he has the upper hand over his opponent Rodriguez.
Why they got these big ass shorts?
That wasn't the case. During the 5th round, he finds himself at the end
Them early 2000 ass shorts that everybody got on these fucking videos. You can tell these shit's old.
of a vicious left hook that completely dismantled him and sends him straight to the ground. He was so perplexed that even his legs got crossed and mixed up as to where to go.
Oh, put him
His
asleep,
stunt
for real,
body
for real.
lay there probably
Put him in the
wondering, where did that come from? It's hard to tell here, but if you look real closely, you can see the soul leave his body just so gracefully on his descent.
Him dead.
Number 3. Charles Latuparissa versus Sultan Al Nuaimi. Charles Latuparissa certainly knew how to make an entrance when he pulled out some MC Hammer moves to impress the Dubai crowd at Caesar's Palace prior to his fight with
Imagine your ass in Dubai.
Sultan Al Nuaimi. Sadly for Charles, it was his loss that made for the real hammer time as he was smashed down under the canvas and through the ropes by Sultan. He was floored twice and knocked out within the 1st round. The dancing fighter tried to beat the count, but he couldn't get to his feet on time. Number 2. Nate Campbell versus Robbie Pettit. If you thought Anderson Silva's I can dodge any punch strategy versus Chris Weidman was bad, this is much worse. Campbell was all over Robbie Peden during the fight and thoroughly taken over in the 5th round after hurting his opponent with a body shot. After such a brutal attack, Peden was in survival mode and everyone thought Campbell had this fight in the bag. However, it wasn't the case. Campbell opted to showboat, hands down with no expectation that Robbie would have anything left in the tank. He was wrong, and Peden uncorked a perfect left hook that sent the cocky Campbell crashing to the canvas. Fight over. Campbell went from a win to a loss in the most amazingly absurd fashion. Number 1. Adonis Stevenson versus Thomas Williams.
This shit better be raw.
Cocky fighters do many annoying things, and one of them is dancing in the ring.
Oh, this
In
him.
this fight, Thomas Williams was able to deliver some punches to Stevenson just before the
shit.
bell. He got cocky and started dancing in the ring. He should have saved that energy because he was soon going to need it to stand from
No,
the
he
floor
hit
when he
himself in the
gets
face.
knocked out. In the 4th round, Stevenson had dominated the fight and started delivering several punches and a final left hook that sent Williams to the floor. He made a failed attempt to stand, but he couldn't beat the time.
That what his ass get.
This was all for today.
Well, y'all, moral of the fucking story, be humble. Hey, but yeah, y'all, I love y'all, man. Thank y'all for tuning in today. You know, we're going to the moon. I apologize for my energy being like low, but y'all nigga tired. I love y'all, man. And I'm see y'all in the next one.